What's up, everybody? Paul Carl here. Today, we're going to talk about branding and marketing for your eBay store. Now, this is something that a lot of people kind of just write off as like, oh, you can't brand yourself on eBay. Like, everybody just thinks it's eBay, and like each seller kind of blends together. And that's true to an extent because the majority of sellers are terrible and nobody likes them. So when you're buying something from eBay, most sellers are going to do a bad job or a mediocre job at best. So the people who do a good job and have a brand are going to stand out and generate repeat business. And that's the whole point about the branding and marketing aspect is to get customers to become loyal to your brand and become repeat customers. We'll talk about this more. But first off, I got a little graphic here from HubSpot. It's branding versus marketing, the differences. Really, the way I look at it is branding is how people think and feel about your business, and then marketing are the activities that make people think and feel that way. And so, really, any touch point that a customer has with your business is an opportunity to do good marketing, or it's wasted. So, let's talk about this more. This video is going to talk about your brand and your story, the types of policies you should have on eBay, customer service, the different touch points that are out there, things for you to think about with those, and then systems that help reinforce everything that you're doing and make it easier. When it comes to branding and marketing, the first thing that you want to think about are your competitive advantages. And these are the things that make your company different and or better than all the other companies out there. There's internal and external competitive advantages. That's self-explanatory, I think. Internal are kind of the things that are inside your company behind the scenes, like Walmart's purchasing power, for example, or Coca-Cola's distribution capacity. External ones are maybe something like the Apple Store. They have like the beautiful fancy store that customers like it. Or it could be like your restaurant has like the best food ever. You're not cooking frozen stuff or microwaving frozen stuff. You're actually getting fresh ingredients and cooking something delicious. That's a competitive advantage. And really on eBay, one of the biggest ways to stand out is to just nail the basics, the common sense things that almost every seller ignores and neglects. So if you nail just the basics, you could just stop there if you wanted to. You could be like a decent, solid, good seller just by doing the things that people expect you to do. That's how low the bar is set. But if you want to start to take that to the next level, that's where you start to think about more external competitive advantages that you could create, or also the internal competitive advantages, which would be things like your systems. So for example, with selling the cards, using a tool, if you're selling singles, like Card Dealer Pro or Kronocard, makes listing a lot faster. That becomes an internal competitive advantage against the people who aren't using something like that. Earlier I mentioned touch points. These are things like your packaging, your website, the messages and offers that you send to customers, your social media presence, store page on eBay. If you sell in person, it could be your booth at an antique mall, it could be your table at a card show. Your pricing communicates something about your business, and also like the curation, what you decide to sell also says something about your business and how you kind of present that. Think about like your photographs. Here's something that's going to blow your mind. I mentioned earlier, this is all about driving repeat customers and repeat business. This is especially important if your eBay store is focused on a specific niche. Like if you're not an everything seller, then this is so much more important because you're selling a lot of the same stuff. People are going to want to buy that stuff regularly. So this is a bunch of different screenshots here. Basically, I'm showing in this first graphic, top left, $5,200, my 90-day revenue. And then here I have an Excel screen cap where I kind of took a sum. This sum here is all of my customers in the last 90 days. This is the revenue generated by them who have only bought from me once in the last 90 days. And so I have 100 total buyers, 100 different people bought from me the last 90 days, 85 were one-time buyers, 15 were repeat buyers. So if we take my total revenue, the $5,200 minus the $2,800, that's $2,400 was generated from 15 people who bought from me multiple times. I had to pause there. 15 people, 15% of my customers are responsible for almost half of my revenue. Each one has generated an average of about $50 a month. This is the power of repeat customers. Take a look at anyone, like for card sellers, take a look at your customers when they leave you feedback or when you leave them feedback. Click on their profile, look at their feedback, see how many other sellers have left them feedback. See how frequently these people are buying cards. A lot of them are buying cards daily, weekly, monthly. If you do a great job and you impress them and you make them feel good, they're going to want to keep buying from you, not from all those other guys who, chances are, have disappointed them in some way or another. Anyways, hopefully you're sold now on the idea of building a brand for your eBay business. And we're going to talk about the story that you could tell and your visuals here. So you're going to want to get a logo, get something that's cohesive. And like I said, that captures the feelings that you want to inspire. I like the blue and orange. So there's a good contrast for like calls to actions on a website. And blue is kind of like a nice, friendly, like trustworthy color in most cultures. So that's why I went with blue and orange. Nick Kolenda, he's got a lot of really good resources if you want to fall into this rabbit hole. His books are phenomenal. He has a lot of free PDF guides and videos, like really smart guy. If you've heard of like Influence by Robert Cialdini, I think Nick Kolenda is miles ahead of that guy. He makes Robert seem like completely overrated. But yeah, you can get a logo. You do something on Fiverr, do like a logo generator, ask ChatGTP. There's a million ways to get one. Just put one together. Maybe make one yourself. But yeah, so I want to get right into telling a story. It doesn't even have to be like something brilliant or that you put a whole bunch of time in. Just something that you can communicate with people that means something. So like mine, it's pretty low effort here. But the point I'm trying to get across is that, I'm just like a small business guy. It's family business. I'm trying to get my daughters involved in it so they can learn like some life lessons and a work ethic and all that. And my 3-year-old, actually, she's just starting to help. I put her to work pulling bolt commons out of the 9 pocket sleeves. But yeah, I kind of tell that little bit of story here in the About Us section, and then I also have it mentioned in the video on my page. It's nothing that should take you too long to put together. Like I said, just something basic is better than nothing, because most people have this blank in their eBay store. Using this About section is great because it gives you a chance to put in your competitive advantages here. So I have like I ship daily, Monday through Saturday. Love to make good deals, respond within a few minutes, combined shipping, all that good stuff. I even drop a call to action to save me as a seller so you can see my newest listings. And I mentioned this in let's show the video real quick. In my SEO video, I mentioned that using these features likely will give you a boost in the search engine rankings on eBay, because eBay wants to collect data on how users interact with these features. So if you're not using these features and somebody else is, and they have the same or a similar item for sale, I would suspect that eBay is going to show the seller who uses these features over the one who doesn't, because that gives them an opportunity to get that conversion, and conversion here being collecting data on how they interact with the About page and the store videos and all that good stuff. Not everybody knows to look here or will look here, but for the people who do, who are a little bit more savvy on eBay, this can be what leads them to want to buy from you rather than somebody else who maybe has less feedback or has nothing here. I also reinforce the story with my packaging. So every order that goes out has the thank you note. This is what it is currently right now, and you want to be sincere, reinforce what you're trying to communicate, and that's what I try to do here. I'm trying to build relationships with customers, learn what they're interested in so I can reach out to them or create lots that are just for them. Like I know some of the people at my antique mall booth, I know what they collect, what they like, so when I see cards that I know they'd be interested in, I make sure that those make it to the antique mall for them. You also want to capture contact information from your customers. So for example, the antique mall booth, I know one of the guys who is a regular there, he collects Jeter. So anytime I get Jeter cards, I make sure that they're going to the antique mall booth, and I can take some pictures, send them to him like, hey, these are coming by this Saturday, so that he knows like, oh, cool, I want some of those. I'm going to stop by Saturday and pick them up. Another example, on eBay, I talk to customers who ask me questions, find out what they collect, and so I can message specific users on eBay and be like, hey, you want that 90s Hall of Fame basketball card lot? I just listed it for you. Here's the link. I put the price high. Send me an offer for $30 and it's yours. Some of these people you meet too, you could actually do direct deals with and save on the fees and do all kinds of other stuff. Send them to your social media so that you can connect there too. I actually have one customer from eBay who has been a regular for forever, and we exchange Christmas presents. Like he sends me and my family like some handmade ornaments they do, and I send him some cards for him and he's got a son and a grandson. I know what they all collect. I send him a bunch of cards that I know they're gonna like. When you build relationships like these with your customers, they're going to refer more customers to you, and it's this nice cycle that just keeps rolling from there. And I don't want this to come across as saying like you need to do this and be fake and phony so you can make more money. That's not going to work. People can sense bullshit. But what I want to communicate here is that when you do these types of things, you're doing good business. You're making your customers feel good, and it also makes you feel good. It makes your life easier and better too. It adds some depth to it, some humanity back to it, because I think we're all so used to this day and age where like the people at the cash register, like you have no idea who you are. You don't care. They could be anybody. There could be nobody there. It doesn't make any difference. But if there's like a small shop that you're regular at, like maybe it's your local card shop or like a trading card game store or something. You go there, you see the same guys, you know them. You can have some fun, make some jokes, ask them how they're doing and like actually care. Like those types of things add value beyond just the money for the business. They adds value to everybody involved. Another touch point is when you're responding to customer service questions, when you're sending offers. There's canned messages that you can use. Some of the more savvy people will have it like copy pastable somewhere, and they'll use the same language so they're not just having to retype the same thing over and over again, or so they're not just leaving it blank or generic when they're sending an offer. This is my standard customer service message for when someone messages me saying that their eBay standard envelope was marked delivered and they don't have it. I send them this, and what happens is if it eventually shows up, so usually there's never an issue, but in the handful of times where the order never showed up, I just send them a refund and move on. And maybe some people are scamming me. I don't know. I don't care. It's the cost of doing business. If they do it to you twice, then I guess block them and move on. But I've never had someone do it to me twice. And I have had people who have bought from me once, and I had to refund them because the standard envelope never showed up. They bought from me a second time, no issues, and they're repeat customers now. It's easy to like be biased towards those negative things because you get scammed once and you're just like, now everybody's a scammer. But that's not the reality of eBay or business in general. So you can't treat all your customers like they're trying to scam you. It's going to make their experience worse, and it's going to make your experience as running a business a lot worse too. Here's what I've been using for my sending offers message. I put the little emoji to catch the eye because it's very easy to kind of gloss over that text. Most people leave it blank, so I think a lot of people ignore it anyways. But the little emoji I think helps draw people's attention to it because it's not just a wall of text like the canned message eBay makes up anymore. So that I try to do that so that people get this little call to action and basically says, hey, if there's anything else you like, send me an offer. I love to make good deals. I want to sell people as many cards as possible. So I'm trying to communicate that to them. To recap what we just covered, I was trying to demonstrate, using myself as an example, how I try to communicate to reinforce the brand and the story. All of these things, you want them to be cohesive. Like you can't say like, oh, I ship the same day and answer messages within minutes and then not do that. You can't not do it. You have to do it every time. So you have to make sure that what you're saying is aligned with what you're actually doing. And part of what I'm trying to do with my brand is show people that I take this seriously and I consider myself a professional. Whether or not you consider me a professional, if you saw my numbers video, that's another story. You can flame me in the comments. But anyway, there's another part to this too. Like you can talk a big game, but when the card shows up, what does it look like? In real life, you're a professional, you're doing your job or whatever. You need to dress the part. Like I do digital marketing consulting as my primary business. And this is me from like around 2013. I was doing lots of talks, networking, blah, blah, blah. And so I wore my suit, nice clean cut, trying to present myself as a professional would. When you're selling your cards or whatever product, you need to present it like a professional would. You gotta have your nice clean new top loader, your clean penny sleeve, make sure everything's in there, put it in a nice new clean top loader, team bag to keep it in the top loader when it's shipping. Like it's basic stuff because you don't wanna like tell people or try to sell people on one thing and then deliver another. This is also me in 2013. I'm not gonna go pitch a client dressed like this. That's like putting your card, no penny sleeve, in an old yellow top loader. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to do business with that. So you need to present yourself to your customers in a way that you're going to be proud of and that's going to be consistent with what you're selling them. Here's another example. Like on the left, this is another dealer. I doubt he sees this, but if you do, this is nothing personal. It's just an example. He's got all of his cards in these dirty old penny sleeves with like these high prices on them. They're all mixed up. It's just a mess. They're getting dinged up from people handling them rough because they're not in top loaders, and it's just sloppy. You got to try to read his handwriting and blah blah blah. Whereas for my booth, I try to make it look more professional, more attractive to customers. All new plastic, top loaders are new, penny sleeves are new. The prices I think are fair. I price the cards around like what ComC is charging, sometimes plus the 25 cents shipping, and sometimes not, depending on what it is. So one of the pieces of feedback I've gotten from all the customers that I've talked to, I ask them about price. I'm like, what do you think about my prices? Are they good? Am I too cheap, too expensive? What do you think? Everybody so far has told me my prices are very fair. I don't think they would say my prices are very fair if my box looked like the one on the left instead of the way that it looks here. Because there's added value here, not just in terms of experience and in terms of presentation, but also in terms of like what you're getting. You're getting a card that hasn't been manhandled by hundreds of people. You're getting a card that's in a top loader already, which is, you know what, 7 cents or whatever, 25 cents if you buy it on ComC. So my whole point here is that if I'm trying to position myself and brand myself as somebody who's taking this seriously, who considers himself a professional, who wants to sell you cards, then my box should look like the one on the right. Now we're going to get into customer service, because this is something that pretty much every card seller is awful at. Before we get into it, I want to remind everybody that there are only 3 reasons why people buy something. It's either to solve a problem, to feel good, or both. And that is something that we have to keep in our minds when we're working with customers, especially if they have a problem or they're angry or whatever. Here's some examples for us to go through. We got this first one. This is from the point of view of the customer. He's asking the seller if these white specks in his photograph, with circles too, are on the card or the case. And that's really thoughtful of him to try to make it easier for the seller like that and show what he's talking about. And the seller responds with, if you are zooming in that far, my cards are not for you, but thanks. That's insanity. This is a customer reaching out with his wallet in his hand, ready to buy this card. He just has one question about it. And this seller couldn't be bothered to answer him. And so it's sad, because that should be an easy sale at that point. You check it, take a second photo, send the photo through the message like, oh yeah, look, it's on the case. Here's the card raw. Looks really good. And maybe there's a flaw in there you didn't notice. You could tell them about that flaw. There's so much opportunity to provide service there and prevent something from going wrong in a transaction. Like that's an easy sale. It's a layup. The seller gives a snarky response, so he gets one back, and then the seller comes back with some like Bible verse. We're going to talk about religion and politics in customer service a little later, so I'll save that. But this is another one. This is from the seller's perspective. This person said that they made an offer less than $1 from your asking price and it wasn't accepted. Why would you make offers a choice if you're not accepting fair bids? That's not good business. So this guy's frustrated. He might be frustrated with a different seller. He could have just made an honest mistake. But this seller, rather than getting the sale, he decided that he's going to take screenshots of the offer history and like say, actually, you're wrong. You didn't. I sent you a counter offer. You never accepted it. Here's the proof. Like, that's just being right and rubbing it in a potential customer's face. Like, we have to humble ourselves when we're serving others. And that's what we're doing with businesses. We're serving other people. And so if I received this message, I would say something like, oh, hey, I'm sorry that happened. I must have made a mistake. I'm going to send you an offer for $12 right now, so double the discount that you wanted. Here, and you can send it right through you see the send offer button up there. You just click that, send them the offer, say, apologize for any inconvenience. And then the other thing you can do on top of it, it's a Derek Jeter card. It's a 97 Dunros Preferred Gold card. Maybe you check your store real quick. You'd be like, hey, if you're interested, I have more Jeters. I have these Jeters here, and I have more Dunros Preferred Gold if you're looking for either of those. Sell him some more cards. If you had multiples of, once you found out whether he collects Jeter or he's going after the set, you could sell him more cards too on top of this. He's basically asking to give you money at this point. This one I included because the customer asked why it hasn't shipped, and the seller, and this is the thing, a lot of sellers will have 5-day shipping and handling times and have excuses like this and think that that's perfectly okay, and it's not. And I'll let you read the response from this buyer. He was not happy, and this buyer's 100% right. Customers don't care about your personal problems. You need to apologize and try to make it right. Like, maybe you say, hey, I'm really sorry about that. I'm going to get it out right now. I'll stick some extra cards in it for you, or like, I got some more optic, or I got some more of whatever this player is that I'm going to stick in there for your patience. I'm sorry about that, and move on. Like, then you have a customer who feels better, and he might still be mad at you, and rightfully so, but at least you've done some damage control there. Don't make your personal problems your customers' problems too. That's terrible. Here's another popular one here, where somebody, you get those, what's your best price, or what's your best offer from somebody who wants to buy your thing. And then the seller says something snarky like this. It's crazy. This is such a golden opportunity. I'm not buying anything from you if you say some bullshit like this to me. Whereas if somebody asks me what's my best offer, I'm going to tell them, like, hey, I'll give you 5% off since you asked. But if you want me to do better, I could. I have, like, whatever. Let's say it's a Michael Jordan card. It's like, if there's any other Michael Jordan cards in my store that you want, like, I can give you a good deal if you want to buy several of them. I could do better on it there. But for just one card, I could only do like 5%. I hope that works for you too. But if not, no hard feelings. Best wishes, Paul. You know, something like that. That's, now you're not just being an asshole to somebody who wants to potentially give you money, but you're selling the card and potentially other cards along with it. And you're gonna take this swing and you're gonna miss it more times than you're gonna hit it. But you need to take the swing. You got to take the swing. Like, something as simple as that can convert a repeat customer by itself. And here's one, I just use one of my own examples here, just as a way to be preemptive. Because, you know, a lot of people will post screenshots of customers being mad that their thing hasn't shipped, and it's a holiday. Normal people don't know when the post office is closed. They don't care. It doesn't matter. Whereas we as sellers, we know when the post office is going to be closed. So for the orders that I get on days where the post office will be closed, just give your customers a heads up. Like, hey, thanks for your order. Just want to let you know the post office is closed on Monday for the holiday, but your cards will be at the post office and on their way to you Tuesday morning when they open back up. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Paul. And customers like that. They'll tell you, like, enjoy your weekend too. And you can potentially spark a conversation. Sometimes customers will say something that you can build on. This also prevents any confusion or frustration or disappointment when they still see that it's tracking and it's not at the post office on Monday when they check on their phone. For something like this, you can just write it out, copy and paste it, send it to everybody who made an order. What I could have actually done better on this is, like, customize it for each person. Like, hey, I saw, like, thanks for buying this lot. Are you interested in any more cards of this player? Because I can make you another lot. Like, I should have did something like that, but I dropped the ball on this one, so nobody's perfect. Here's another example here. So this is somebody who received an offer from me when I hit send offer to a buyer, and he didn't know that he could send me an offer. And he went through my store on a bunch of lots and just put them on his watch list so that I could try to send him offers, and it would be like anonymized. And that's just a disaster because somebody else could buy the lot, and I don't want to sell something so cheap if it's only going, like, by itself to someone. Whereas for a guy like this, where he's buying, 5-6 lots, I'll send them all together to him, save on the shipping. Love to hook them up. So I took screenshots. I did the little drawings. I told him how to, like, send an offer to me, how to filter by my sale items, because I told him if it's one of my sale items, like, I'm ready to get rid of them. So just send me an offer, whatever you want, take them. And this guy bought, instead of me, like, ignoring him and not wanting to do 5 minutes of work like most sellers would do, I engaged with him and talked to him. And since I took the screenshot, he's bought another lot from me. So, like, he bought like 5 or 6 in this one transaction here after I taught him how to do it. And then he, like, a couple days ago, he bought another lot from me. So this is how you do it. This is how you do it. It's not hard. Going back to that religious quote comment, we're here to convert sales, not religions. We're here to sell people stuff. We're not trying to sell them on our political ideologies. What you want to do when customers inevitably bring up religion or say, like, God bless you or have a blessed day or whatever, you don't want to, like, go against that. So, like, let's say I'm an atheist and somebody says God bless me. I don't want to go like, oh, actually, I'm an atheist, and just be an asshole. You just say, oh, thank you, that was nice. God bless you too, and you move on. You don't turn it into a whole thing all about you and your beliefs. You just reciprocate the nicety to the person and move on. It's the same thing with holidays. If a customer tells you Happy Hanukkah and you celebrate Christmas, you don't say like, oh, actually, I celebrate Christmas. You don't do some passive aggressive thing and say like, oh, Merry Christmas to you. No, you just say Happy Hanukkah back. That's it. The other thing that you'll see is people bring politics or politicians into it. And, regardless of who you like or don't like or whatever, just agree with whatever they say. Like if somebody says, oh, this is all I can afford because of Joe Biden, blah, blah, blah. And you say, oh, yeah, I know, it's been so rough lately. Like, just agree. Don't argue with them and turn a transaction into a political debate. It's madness. This all ties back into why people buy from you, and it's to feel good or to solve a problem. And you don't want to ruin somebody's good feeling by creating like a political or religious debate with them. So even if you don't agree with them, by telling that little white lie and agreeing and trying to move back on to business and the transaction or just end the conversation, that's the way to go about it, so that you're not causing any unnecessary contention and you're not making anyone feel awkward or uncomfortable. It's our job as service providers essentially to make that experience go well when it could otherwise go a little off the rails with topics like that. We just went over customer service, we went over like the story, the messaging. Now we're going to talk about shipping. This is another, probably the most important touch point after you make a sale, is the shipping portion of it. And before we get into it, I want you to see how packages are shipped at USPS. Let's take a look. This is how your mail is processed. Look at this big bin. Now, Ground Advantage, the max weight is 20 pounds. And once it's dumped out, it goes in these conveyor belts. It falls off these conveyor belts, and it lands into these little things. They have like a net that kind of reduces the impact when it falls in, gives it a little give if you have a heavy package. But anyway, now you've got a little glimpse of behind the scenes. The reason I wanted to show you guys that is so that you can see that they're, particularly with the yellow bin where it's just dumping mail, it's going down a ramp, so it's getting some like velocity. Now imagine, like, I've shipped weights before, like actual weights, like weightlifting weights. And now imagine you've got cards in a bubble mailer, and then my 20 pounds of dumbbells is in that same bin as yours, and your cards land first, and now speeding down that ramp in the yellow thing is my 20-pound dumbbells colliding right into your cards. They're going to get damaged. So you need to prepare for these worst case scenarios. They don't always happen. You might get lucky, someone else's package gets damaged and not yours, but you have to be conscious of this possibility and do what's in your power to reduce these problems from happening. And the way we reduce these problems is by packaging correctly. And some of the problems that happen are just like customer service stuff and presentation. This goes back to that consistent message. Look at this, a $100 card and a nasty, dirty used top loader with packaging tape around it and then electrical tape to seal it, and it doesn't even have a penny sleeve. Like, this is a disaster. And I bet you this card was shipped just like this, as you see it, stuffed in a bubble mailer, and that was it. I guarantee you that's how this guy shipped it. It's probably a used Amazon bubble mailer. I see these tweets all the time on Twitter. You probably do too, where people who shipped or received a slab shipped in a bubble mailer have damage on the slab. People think that you put it in bubble wrap and it's invincible unless the post office like intentionally tries to break your package, but it's not true. That's why I showed those clips in the beginning, so you can see how those big bins filled with mail just get dumped down and it turns into a ramp. If your little slab thing is on the top of that thing and it falls off first, and then the next thing sliding on that ramp is a 20-pound box of whatever, and it slams into your slab here, there's a high probability that it's going to get damaged by it, because the bubble wrap is not going to stop that 20-pound speeding bullet. And I mean, that's probably hyperbole, but you get the point I'm trying to get across. This is how these slabs get damaged, because the machines, and then sometimes the workers are just throwing packages because they're not going to walk nicely. They're not going to put it on a silver platter and march it over in a little procession to those little bins. They just chuck it over there. And if your thing's not packaged right, it's going to get damaged when they chuck it. And you need to package your stuff so that even if you throw it or step on it or drop it down the stairs or, throw it off your roof, it's going to be fine. And it's not hard to do it. All you do is you wrap it in bubble wrap and you put it in a box. These boxes, a lot of them, it's amazing. Like, I don't know how much you guys recycle, how much mail you get in or whatever, but sometimes you can stand on these boxes. I'm a big guy. I'm like 6'5". I weigh like 250. I stand on some of these boxes and they won't crush. I gotta like stomp on them to get them to flatten out to put them in the recycling bin. So a box is gonna be the best way to reduce, if not eliminate, this type of damage from happening. So if you're shipping slabs in a bubble mailer, you get the triple clown because you're risking damage in an unhappy customer when a 20, 35-cent box or a free box if you use the eBay supplies with your credit prevents all that from happening. With this slide, I just really want to drive these last 2 points home, especially for card sellers. And the no used condoms thing, that's in reference to top loaders and penny sleeves. Those are basically condoms for your cards. You put them in, you keep them safe and clean and protected from all the dirty stuff in the world and blah, blah, blah. But once you take them out of that, they're dirty, they're used, you throw it away. Or in my case, I sell them. I sell the used top loaders because lots of people use them still. I know a lot of people don't really care. There's the whole, as long as it gets there safely crowd. And that's fine if you want to save like 2 cents per top loader to use a used one. Like if that's your MO, cool. You could actually build your brand and your story around like, oh, I care about the environment, so I reuse old boxes and I reuse old top loaders and I pass the savings on to you. And you could build that into your story, and then it's fine because people will be expecting it. It's all about that cohesive messaging and follow through on it. So if you want to build this like environmentally friendly thing into your brand, go for it. That's great. But if you want to be like more professional and more higher end, at least in perception, just use a brand new penny sleeve, use a brand new top loader. If you stored the card in a penny sleeve after you listed it, take it out of that penny sleeve. It's used. Put it in a new penny sleeve and ship it out that way. These little details matter when you're trying to portray a certain image or continue a certain story with your brand. And some people don't care. Some people do care. Some people will get upset that you cheap out and give them a used piece of garbage as protection for their card. Like it'll upset some people. What you do to enhance your brand and eliminate that risk of making somebody upset for your nasty yellow top loader is you spend the 7 cents and you put it in a brand new top loader. And the problem is completely avoided. If you are so cheap that you want to risk making somebody unhappy, then go ahead and use a used top loader. But if we go back all the way to the beginning, you'll see my average repeat buyer is worth $50 a month on average. If one of those people didn't like used top loaders and I sent them a used top loader, instead of saving 2 cents on my top loader, I just lost $50 a month on a repeat customer. You need to look at these things not as like unnecessary expenses, but as value add to capture more repeat business. There's that old cliche, don't step over $1 to pick up a nickel. This situation is exactly that. The other thing I want to add is don't use garbage for your packaging. Don't reuse like your nasty old dirty box that you found from a dumpster because you just started reselling and you don't want to spend $100 for a bunch of brand new nice boxes that will fit everything you need. Like it's crazy to me that people go dumpster diving for boxes. Like how little is your time worth? And then think of it like this, like if you're getting boxes like that, they're not a uniform size. So how do you organize them? How do you find the right size box when something sells? Like people are spending so much time and energy collecting and organizing and breaking down and rebuilding all these used nasty boxes when for very little money you can just buy brand new boxes that you can store nicely, have easily accessible, know what size is where. It eliminates so many problems and will save you so much time. Some of you people, you're shipping out, you're cutting up your old Cheez-It box, your like Tricks for Kids cereal and putting that little tiny thing of cardboard in with your PWE, and then you wrap like half a roll of tape around it. Like that's not adding any protection in your eBay standard envelope. That's just adding more garbage. I don't want to know what you buy for your groceries when I buy a card from you. Don't send all that. Like if you're shipping eBay standard envelope, just check out my video on how to ship those properly. I've shipped out over 30,000 eBay standard envelopes, and the process is very simple, very fast. You don't need all these fancy bells and whistles. The ultimate goal with your packaging is to make it as safe as possible and as convenient to open as possible. Because especially with card collectors, they're getting a lot of mail and they don't want to sit there for 20 minutes trying to dissect your package because you covered it in like every piece of tape you can imagine. You got a million different pieces of cardboard here and there. It's a nightmare, and I hate when sellers do that, and so do your customers. But people are just too polite and they think it's too petty to complain about it. So you won't get a lot of feedback about that unless you can put yourself in the customer's shoes in your mind, or literally when you're buying cards on eBay and you see the crazy stuff that people will package and send to you. And yeah, that's why I added no toilet paper here, because somebody actually shipped me a card and they wrapped it in toilet paper. It was in a top loader and a team bag, and they wrapped toilet paper around that. I'm lost for words. I don't know why a person would do that. I wish I still had the video, because I had it on video. I think I deleted it because it was a really old video on my channel, but I wish I had that footage to put here. This is just rehashing what I already ranted about. This is the problem with planning these videos out in advance and then not being able to record them for a while, is I forget what I have here. And Sports Card Radio is right. This ties into the Apple Store thing. They were talking about branding and like how like Louis Vuitton, Rolex, and blah blah blah. And so the sports card industry is like it really looks like this most of the time. This is what the majority of the hobby looks like when you're buying cards on eBay or going into a lot of these local card shops. It's run down, dirty, dark, dingy, low effort. You need to try to be more like this. Think about your brand and your story and how you want to portray that. And if you're going to go the environmentally friendly route and you want to reuse stuff, at least draw the line somewhere. Like maybe that really yellow top loader with old tape residue from 30 years ago still on it, collecting God knows what. Maybe that top loader is okay to just throw away. Maybe just use like a moderately used top loader instead. Lastly, now that we talked about shipping a little bit, I want to talk about systems. This is just going to be a real high-level overview of some things to get the gears turning. I'm going to dive more into systems later. My next video is going to be on automations that anyone can use to save themselves a ton of time with their eBay business. So you want to create systems for how you source things, how you process things that you've sourced when they come in, systems for how you list cards, a CRM, customer relationship management, or whatever it stands for. That's just a way to kind of keep track of all your different customers so that you can tell like who likes what. Like I have a whole spreadsheet with different usernames and names and addresses and whatnot of, okay, this person collects Jeter, that person wants all my Jordans, this person's looking for my Max Scherzer cards. So I know when I get a lot of these different types of cards in, I can look in my CRM and figure out who wants those cards so that I can sell them directly to those people without having to like scan and list and do all that extra stuff. If you have a CRM, it's going to make your life a lot easier, because now when you're sourcing stuff, you can see cards and know already for a fact. You can even look on your phone and double check to make sure you're not misremembering. But you can look up your customers and say, okay, yeah, I already know I have a buyer for this card. I know I have a buyer for that card. So I can happily pay, maybe a little bit more than I normally would to buy those cards, because I know tonight when I get back home with it, I can sell it immediately and it'll be in the mail tomorrow morning. Last is admin, customer service. This is going to be like your accounting type of stuff. All those messages like the eBay standard envelope, boilerplate message, that kind of all falls into here. You can create systems for all these things too. You shouldn't be like scrambling to figure out all your numbers because your taxes are due. You should know all your numbers at least on a monthly basis, so you have like a pulse of your business and how it's doing, so that you can look at it objectively. And there's ways to create systems for that so that it's not this huge insurmountable task, and so that you can also get more realistic numbers, because eBay doesn't tell you the whole story. You need to know your cost of goods sold. You need to know how much money you have tied up in inventory. You want to know about your cash flow. You want to know about your net margins, everything. Something for you to think about. Another channel to check out, FastCap LLC. I forget the name of the guy who owns it, but he's obsessed with lean manufacturing. And this isn't lean like the way you learn it in business school or whatever. This is from a guy who's hired people from like Japan and Toyota and is real hands-on. Some of the stuff is just over the top, unbelievable. But those little tiny improvements add up so quick. With lean, it changes how you think about how you do things. You just want to look for like a little improvement here, a little improvement there. Get creative. Think like, okay, it takes me, let's say it takes me 33 seconds to take a raw card and have it in the plain white envelope with the eBay standard label to ship. Think about like, all right, can I get that down to 20 seconds? Like, what would I need to change to get down to 20 seconds? And you become more mindful of your physical movements, the way that your desk or your workspace is oriented, and the objects and tools on them are arranged, and your supplies. You can start to tweak that a little bit here, a little bit there, and speed up processes. And every day you're doing the same processes with these like shipping cards and whatnot, shipping whatever you sell. Just think about what little tiny tweaks you could make to speed up the process, make it more efficient. And maybe it's as simple as like, you know what, I have to like reach pretty far to get my tape off the tape dispenser. I'm going to slide my tape dispenser 6 inches to the right and 3 inches forward, and I have a speaker there. I'm just going to move that speaker back a little bit, and my tape's going to be there. So now instead of having to fully extend my arm to reach the tape, I'm going to only have to partially extend it. My arm's going to move like 2 inches to get the tape instead of the full whatever the length is. It saves maybe a second, let's say, but it takes you 33 seconds to do this hypothetical shipment. So you save 1 second here, you save another second in another spot, maybe a day later, a week later, a month later, whatever it is. You save all these seconds over time, and now you take a process that takes you 33 seconds and you shave it down to 20. You look at that at scale. If you're trying to scale your business, let's say you wanted to ship 1,000 cards a day. Instead of that taking 3,300 seconds, you can get it down to 2,200 seconds. That's a tremendous savings when you look at it on much larger time scale and time frame. But anyway, check this stuff out. These guys are real smart. They can explain these concepts to you better than I can. These behind-the-scenes improvements in efficiency create internal competitive advantages for you. You can get more done in less time. That gives you more time to grow the business. And if you ever decide that you're going to get employees someday, you teach your employees how to do it in the most efficient way possible. Now your labor cost is essentially lower than if you were paying that person to do the same task, but in a manner that takes twice as long, 3 times as long, 10 times as long. Think about all the local card shops that have employees with their phones taking pictures of cards and listing them manually from a phone instead of using a tool like Kronocard or Card Dealer Pro. This is a recap of everything we talked about: brand, story, policies, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, this is a really long video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know if you like this longer style or if you want me to keep it nice and concise. I've literally spent like 5 hours off and on trying to record this, between kids crying and yelling and having to run little errands here and there. And oh man, I thought I was making this more efficient, but I got a lot more work to do on my video recording and planning. But yeah, let me know in the comments, ask me any questions, hop in the Discord, all that good stuff. And yeah, thanks for watching, everybody.